For a long time, it felt like we were doing everything right, but we still couldn't get ahead. We had good jobs, we were making decent money, but most of it was already gone. They were lost to habits that looked completely normal, but were quietly keeping us stuck. And the most frustrating part was, I didn't even realize it at the time. But once I finally saw what was really happening, everything changed for us. We eventually became millionaires in our 30s. So in today's video, I want to show you the habits that were holding us back and the one shift that made the biggest difference for us. Now, before you hear this and think, easy for you to say, let me just say this up front. I was not born rich. I didn't grow up with some secret investing playbook. I was raised by a single mom who was incredibly frugal. She clipped coupons and she worried about money. And without realizing it, I carried a lot of those money fears into adulthood. So even after I got a good job, and even after my wife and I started moving up in our careers, money still felt heavy. Most of what we earned was already spoken for, between paying for everyday expenses and also paying down $250,000 of student loan debt. So this isn't coming from someone who's got everything right early on in life. This is coming from someone who thought he was being responsible, but still had to unlearn some of the bad habits the hard way. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe your income has gone up, but it still doesn't feel like you're getting ahead. Maybe you're doing all the adult things, but your bank account feels way tighter than it should. And if that sounds like you, just hit the like button so more people who feel this way actually sees this. If that's you, you're not crazy. There's actually a reason why so many people feel this way. You can be doing all the right things, working hard, earning more, and trying to be responsible, and still feel like your money isn't going as far as it should. The first habit that was keeping me stuck was thinking that a bigger paycheck would fix everything. For a long time, my plan felt pretty straightforward: go to school, get a job, work hard, move up, and earn more. And honestly, that's what a lot of us were taught. But here's the thing: income and wealth are not the same thing. Because even as our income started to grow, it still felt like most of our money already had a job before we even saw it. It was going towards bills, debt, housing, the kids, just everyday life. So, yeah, the paycheck got bigger, but it didn't really feel like anything changed. That's when it clicked for me. I didn't have an income problem, I had a money flow problem. Because if your habits don't change, a bigger paycheck just gives your old patterns more room to operate. You don't build wealth just by earning more, you build it by keeping more, directing it with intention, and putting it to work. The second habit is one that most people don't even realize they have, and that's not having a real system for their money. Now, I'm not saying I never looked at my bank account. I'm saying I didn't have a clear plan. And that's a big difference. For a long time, I thought budgeting was restrictive, but now I see it completely different. A budget isn't a punishment, it's a plan. It's what helps you stop wondering where your money goes at the end of the month. Because if you don't tell where your money to go, it just disappears. And it disappears fast. You've got rent, groceries, car repairs, subscriptions, you name it. It adds up quicker than you expect. Here's what I didn't understand back then: people who seem bad with money aren't always spending it wildly. Sometimes they're just spending without a clear plan. And that was me. And if you want a custom done for you budget plan, comment budget in the comments down below, and I'll share more details about it. Now, I wasn't reckless. I just wasn't intentional. Once we started actually viewing our numbers, everything changed for us. Not because we became perfect overnight, but because awareness gave us options. And options, they create freedom. That's one of the biggest lessons here. Consistency beats perfection. You don't need some perfect system. You just need one you'll actually stick to. Now, this next one is sneaky, and honestly, it catches almost everyone at some point: lifestyle creep. It doesn't feel irresponsible in the moment, it actually feels earned, like you deserve it, because after all, you worked for it. You start making more money, and naturally, your lifestyle starts to rise with it. Maybe it's a slightly nicer car, eating out a bit more. That just becomes your new normal. That's the trap. Because your income might be going up, but your margin isn't. And margin is where your wealth actually starts to grow. One of the smartest things we did was resist upgrading everything at once. We kept living below our means, and over time, that shift made a bigger difference than any raise could. Because it wasn't about restriction, it was about direction. Frugality by itself won't make you wealthy, but being intentional with your money will. This next habit looks completely normal on the surface, but it's one of the fastest ways to get stuck: using debt without a clear strategy. Now, not all debt is bad. My wife had over $250,000 in debt, but it was tied to her education and career. That's different. The real problem with debt is used to support a lifestyle that your income can actually sustain. That's where people get trapped. They use credit to close the gap between the life they have and the life that they feel that they should have. And over time, that gap just gets bigger. Even now, I still use credit cards, but I'm very mindful of how I use them. That one shift alone can save people years of financial stress. And this last one might be the most expensive mistake of all. Not because it feels risky, but because it feels safe. And it's waiting too long to invest. I used to think waiting would protect me, that I needed to feel more ready, more confident, more certain. But in reality, waiting was costing me time. And time is one of the most powerful tools you have when it comes to building wealth. That's when it really clicked for me. Time in the market beats trying to time the market. That's why I shifted to a much simpler approach: investing in index funds, staying consistent, and automating the process. It's not exciting, but honestly, boring investing is what actually works. Because the more emotional you get, the more mistakes you tend to make. If I had to sum this up in one sentence, it would be: I wasn't broke because I didn't make money. I was stuck because my habits were working against my future. What changed everything for us wasn't one big move. It was building better systems, staying consistent, and thinking long term. That's how we got rid of over $250,000 of debt, built multiple income streams, and eventually crossed $1 million net worth. Not through anything flashy, but just through better habits. So let me ask you, which one of these habits do you see yourself in most right now? Drop it down in the comments down below. And if this helped you connect the dots, subscribe to the channel and give it a like. This is what exactly we talk about here: simple, real life strategies to help you build real wealth and create more freedom for you and your family. Thank you for your time. I'll see you in the next video.